Just 6 years ago, Prince Will had whispered promises of a home filled with children's laughter. Today his voice thundered through the hospital, cracking under the weight of 4 miscarriages. The man who once dreamed of joy now screamed at fate. The corridors shook with Prince Will's anguished cry. "Not again," he shouted, his voice breaking, hands trembling, tears spilling down his face. 4 miscarriages, in less than 6 years. Inside the ward, Mary sat on the edge of the hospital bed, crying her eyes out. Her hands clutched the sheets, her body shaking with every sob. Why me again?" she whispered, voice breaking. The pain of losing another baby crushed her chest, and all the sleepless nights, endless work and sacrifices for her family seemed wasted. She felt small, shattered, completely alone. This was not the first time her heart had been broken, but each loss cut just as deep, leaving her trembling, facing yet another unbearable miscarriage. Back in the hallway, a hospital attendant quickly came up to Prince Will and held his arm gently. "Sir, please, come inside. The doctor is waiting for you," he said softly. Prince Will wiped his face with the back of his hand. His chest felt like a heavy stone pressing him down. Okay, he whispered weakly, allowing the attendant to guide him down the corridor toward the doctor's office. Inside the doctor's office, Prince Will sank into a chair, fists clenched, his body trembling. The elderly doctor looked at him with a mix of sympathy and concern. "Mr. Prince Will," the doctor began slowly, "I know this is hard to hear, but your wife Mary has been pushing herself too much. Her body was under a lot of stress. That's why she lost the pregnancy." Prince Will lifted his head, shocked. "Stress? But how, doctor?" The doctor leaned back, his expression grave. "The last time she came for her antenatal check, I saw the danger signs. I warned her. No heavy lifting, no stress, no pressure. I told her to rest. But she didn't follow the advice." Prince Will's jaw dropped. He felt a sharp pang of betrayal. She never told me," he whispered. "If I had known, I would have made sure she rested. I would have done everything." His voice broke. Tears ran down his cheeks. "Doctor, she only wanted to help because my job isn't enough. Maybe she didn't want to burden me. But if I'd known." The doctor sighed deeply. "Please, don't blame her too harshly. She's in pain too, Mr. Prince Will. She carried this burden quietly, thinking she was helping you." Prince Will nodded weakly, feeling the weight of the truth press down on him. He dragged his feet to his wife's ward. When he entered, he froze. Mary lay on the bed, face streaked with tears, whispering to herself, "It's my fault, it's all my fault." Prince Will rushed to her side, his hands trembling. "No, my love, stop saying that. You're not to blame. Please stop crying." But Mary couldn't. She turned her face away, ashamed, her voice breaking. "I should have told you. I should have rested. I killed our baby." Mary's cries echoed in the quiet hospital room, her body trembling as if the weight of the world rested on her shoulders. Prince Will held her hands tightly, his eyes never leaving hers. "Shoo, baby, listen to me," he whispered, his voice low, soft but full of authority. "Don't you ever say you killed anyone. Don't let this pain eat you alive. God knows why this happened. You did nothing wrong." She shook her head, tears running down. I tried. I worked so hard. I didn't mean to. You gave everything, baby. Your heart, your time, your love, and it's okay to cry. But stop blaming yourself." "No more," Prince Will said firmly, brushing a stray tear from her cheek. Mary's shoulders heaved, her sobs slowly softening. A small, fragile smile tried to break through her sadness. As her sobs slowly subsided, she sniffled, resting her head weakly on the pillow. Days later, Mary was discharged from hospital. At home, Prince Will sat her down gently. "My love, from today, no more stress. I will make sure I lift the burden off your shoulders. Just rest like the doctor said. From this moment on I will provide for us and ensure we're okay." Mary nodded weakly. Her heart was heavy, but she tried to offer a small smile. Meanwhile, Prince Will carried his file everywhere, chasing opportunities in the real estate and construction business. He drafted proposals, submitted applications, and hoped for a breakthrough. But when nothing worked, he took small side jobs, delivering packages, doing odd handyman work, helping with gardening, and running errands wherever he could, just to put food on the table and pay the rent. He was determined never to let Mary suffer again. After her last miscarriage, Mary's body began to change. The sadness, the lonely nights, and the heavy weight of loss stayed with her. She stopped paying attention to her appearance and found herself eating whenever her heart hurt, which was almost always. Night after night, she reached for small snacks and leftovers, trying to fill the emptiness inside, and slowly her body began to show it. Months passed. The slim, lively, beautiful woman Prince Will had married seemed to vanish. In her place was a heavier Mary, her face clouded with sadness. Neighbors began to gossip. Some women whispered, "See Mary, ever since she lost that pregnancy she's gained so much weight, she's almost like a heavyweight." But Mary didn't care. Her joy was gone. Eating was the only thing that calmed her, even for a moment. One evening, Prince Will dragged himself home after another long, fruitless day searching for contracts. His shirt was soaked with sweat. When he walked in, he saw his wife sitting at the table, slowly eating a large plate of fufu and soup, as if it were the only thing keeping her alive. Prince Will dropped his file onto a chair and let out a deep, weary sigh. His eyes roamed over Mary, taking in the extra weight she had gained over the past months. "Mary, look at you," he said sharply, his voice tight with frustration. "Do you even care about yourself anymore? Every day it's just eating and gaining weight. Is this how you want to stay?" Mary froze, tears instantly welling up. Her heart felt shattered. She turned her face away, ashamed, and stayed silent. Prince Will let out a long sigh, rubbed his forehead, and walked into the bedroom without another word. What he didn't realize was that Mary's weight gain wasn't laziness, it was grief. After losing her child, her body had changed and depression had made things worse. Eating had become the only thing that made her feel even a little better. Weeks later, Prince Will rushed into their small living room, his face bright with excitement. "My love," he shouted, almost dancing. "At last. I've succeeded in registering my own real estate firm. Our future is secure." Mary looked up, stunned, and her face slowly lit up with joy. "Really? That's amazing. God is blessing the work of your hands," she said, clapping excitedly. Prince Will smiled, his eyes full of hope. "But I need you, Mary. No employees, no team, for now. I can't pay them yet, please just help me as my receptionist for now." Mary's eyes softened. She felt useful again, like part of his dream. "Don't worry, my husband. I'll do it. I'm even tired of sitting at home," she said with a small smile. From that day, Mary became the backbone of Prince Will's tiny office. Every morning she ironed his shirts and made sure he looked neat. At the office she swept the floor, opened the windows, and arranged the few chairs they had. She sat by the desk to answer phone calls, welcome visitors, and write down their details in a notebook. Sometimes she typed letters for Prince Will. Other times she walked around the streets sharing flyers about the new company. In the evenings, she locked up the office only after Prince Will returned from his endless meetings. Slowly, hope began to return to their lives. Months passed. Just when it seemed every door was closed, Prince Will burst into the tiny office one scorching afternoon, his face glowing. "Mary," he shouted, almost breathless. "God has done it. I finally got the housing project contract I've been chasing for almost 4 years." Mary jumped up, tears streaming down her face. She hugged him tightly. "Thank you, Jesus," she cried, overwhelmed with joy. That night, sleep didn't come near them. They laughed until their stomachs hurt, danced around the small living room, and thanked God with all their hearts. At last, it seemed their long struggle was beginning to bear fruit. The next day, Prince Will dressed in his best shirt and trousers, polished shoes shining, documents in hand. Wifey walked over, kissed him on the cheek, and whispered, "May your day be blessed, my love. May everything go smoothly." He nodded and left for the meeting. Hours turned into days, but Prince Will never came back. Mary waited day and night, cooking his favorite meals and leaving them on the dining table. She called his phone over and over, but there was no answer. Her heart pounded with worry. Something felt off. The city buzzed outside, the traffic, the street hawkers, the distant honking. But inside their small home there was only silence. Mary's stomach twisted with fear. Where was Prince Will? Mary had been calling Prince Will nonstop for days, sending messages that went unanswered. Every buzz of her phone that wasn't him felt like a knife twisting in her heart. The worry grew, gnawing at her with each passing hour. A week later, her friend came over, eyes wide with urgency. She grabbed Mary's hands and leaned close, whispering, "Mary, stop torturing yourself. Your husband isn't missing, he's living it up at that luxury hotel like nothing ever happened." Mary's chest tightened. Without a second thought, she grabbed a taxi, her hands trembling as she clutched her bag. "God, please, let this not be true," she prayed silently. When she stepped into the hotel lobby, gleaming under the bright chandeliers, her eyes scanned every corner. And then she froze. There he was, Prince Will. His posture is confident, suit perfectly tailored, shoes polished like glass. But he wasn't alone. A young, stunning woman clung to his arm, laughing like the world belonged to her. Her dress hugged every curve, and her smile was loud, bold, and unapologetic. Mary's knees went weak. Summoning all her strength, she walked toward them, voice trembling. "Price? What is happening? I've been calling you for days. You told me about the contract. Did you win it? And who is this woman?" Prince Will turned to her, eyes sharp and cold. "Mary, ever since I married you, nothing has gone right. First, the miscarriages, then this. Look at yourself now. You've let yourself go. How can a man like me walk beside someone like this?" Before Mary could respond, the young woman laughed, pressing herself closer to Prince Will. "I'm Franca," she said boldly, her voice dripping with confidence. "This is the life Prince Will deserves. Look at you, big, sad, miserable. Do you really think a man like him will waste his time with someone like you?" Mary felt a knife twist in her chest. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, "After everything I did for you, I lost my pregnancy because we were struggling, and also I worked myself to the bone trying to keep us alive. That pain, it left me broken. And yes, that's why I gained weight, and now you stand here calling me fat." Prince Will's face hardened. "I'm not lying. Everyone calls you that. I need someone classy, not you. Love doesn't pay bills. You're a burden now. Franca gives me pride, you never could." He pulled Franca closer, kissing her boldly in front of the stunned hotel guests. Gasps filled the lobby. Mary's body shook with humiliation. She spun on her heels and ran toward the exit, her sobs echoing off the marble floors. Outside, tears blurred her vision, and she almost collided with a man passing by. He stopped, staring at her with recognition. "Mary, is that really you?" She froze, breath catching in her throat. It was Peter, her childhood friend, the one she hadn't seen in years. "It's been such a long time," Peter said, smiling warmly. "How have you been?" Mary's tears flowed freely. "Not too well," she whispered. Peter's smile faded as he glanced toward Prince Will and his new partner in the lounge. "I saw everything. Is that your husband?" Mary's voice cracked. "He was, until now. Prince Will. He humiliated me and left me for another woman. After all those years struggling together, now that he has money, he just abandoned me." Peter's jaw tightened. "Interesting. I'm the one who approved the contract that made him rich." Mary froze. "You what?" Peter nodded calmly. "Don't worry. Stay strong. Everything will work out. Come with me. I'll take you home." Mary shook her head. "I don't know if I can. My neighbors are already mocking me, saying I was left because of my size." Peter's voice softened. "Then come with me. Stay at my place for as long as you need. No questions, no judgment." Mary hesitated. "But what about your wife? How will you explain bringing a woman into your home?" "I don't have a wife yet. You're free to stay." The drive to Peter's house was quiet. Mary stared out the window, her mind heavy with pain. Just hours ago, she had a husband, a life filled with hope. Now she was abandoned, humiliated, and heartbroken. Peter glanced at her. "Don't dwell on him. I know it hurts, but you'll be fine." Mary let out a bitter laugh. "Fine? How can I be fine? I gave Prince Will everything, suffered with him when we had nothing, worked myself to exhaustion hoping for a better life. And now that he has money, he calls me useless." Peter sighed. "Some people change when money comes. His actions say more about him than about you." At last they arrived at a sprawling mansion in Abuja. Tall gates, colorful flowers, a sparkling fountain, the works. Mary's eyes widened. "Peter, is this your house?" Peter smiled. "Yes, this is my home in Abuja. I also have others in different states." He stepped out and opened the door for her. "Come on, let's go inside." The interior took Mary's breath away. Chandeliers hung from the ceiling, soft expensive chairs, glittering curtains, and the scent of freshness and elegance everywhere. For the first time in months, her tears were not just of pain, they were also of awe. Noticing her quiet gaze, Peter said gently, "You must be hungry. Let me have the cook prepare something for you." Mary shook her head. "No, I want to cook. It will help me feel better, keep my mind busy." Peter raised an eyebrow. "You still want to cook, even here?" "Yes," she whispered. "It makes me feel alive." Peter laughed softly. "All right then. The kitchen is yours." Mary stepped into the kitchen and couldn't hide her surprise. The place was huge, sparkling with modern appliances and shelves stacked with fresh vegetables, fruits, meats, and spices. As she moved closer, her eyes fell on a tablet lying on the counter. "What's this?" she asked softly, picking it up. Peter appeared behind her, leaning casually against the doorway with that easy smile he always had. "All that? It's my sister's fitness app," he said. After she had her child, she struggled with weight. She followed the exercises and meal plans here with help from experts. Now look at her, she's completely transformed. Mary's eyes lit up with curiosity. "Really? Can I see?" Peter handed her the tablet. She scrolled through the pictures and instructions, stopping at a photo of his sister. Slim, confident, and radiant. Her jaw dropped. "She looks amazing," Mary whispered, her heart stirring with a tiny spark of hope for the first time in months. Peter nodded. "She worked hard for it, but it paid off. If you want, I can help you too." Mary stayed quiet, her eyes fixed on the floor. After a long, shaky breath, she whispered, All this weight, it didn't just happen. After the last miscarriage, my body started changing. The sadness, the depression, it got to me. I ate to feel a little better, to fill the emptiness inside. And before I knew it, I didn't even recognize myself anymore." Peter's expression softened. He leaned gently against the doorway, studying her. "I could have guessed," he said with a faint smile. "Back then you had such a fantastic figure. Everyone admired you." Mary blushed faintly, her voice breaking. "Life has a way of changing people. I never imagined mine would turn out like this." For the first time that day, a faint smile appeared on her lips. Maybe it's not too late. I think I'll give these tips a try." The first few days in Peter's house weren't easy. The betrayal by Prince will still haunt her. Many nights she sat by the corridor asking herself, "Am I really that unworthy? Did my weight make me undeserving of love?" Peter gave her space, but he never left her completely alone. He reminded her of funny moments from their childhood days, made her laugh, and constantly told her she was still valuable. Then one morning she made a choice. Mary walked into the kitchen, picked up the app, and scrolled through it carefully. Healthy eating, simple exercises, and lifestyle tips stared back at her. Peter caught her and smiled knowingly. "So, you're serious about this?" Mary nodded firmly. "Yes. Not for Prince Will. Not for revenge. For me. I want to feel confident again." "That's the spirit," Peter said. "And don't worry, I'll be here with you every step of the way." Her journey began. At first it was tough. Heavy plates of rice and stew were swapped for lighter meals, fruits, vegetables, and lean proteins. Peter even hired a trainer to guide her. The first few days of exercise were brutal. Her muscles ached, her legs shook, and sweat poured down her face like rain. One evening, after an especially grueling session, Mary collapsed on the couch, utterly exhausted. Peter stepped closer and handed Mary a glass of water. "Exhausted?" he asked gently. "Completely," she sighed, taking the glass. "I never realized change could be this tough." Peter chuckled softly. "Anything worth having takes effort. But believe me, I'm already seeing the difference in you." Mary raised a skeptical eyebrow. "You're just saying that to make me feel better." "No, I mean it," Peter said, leaning a little closer. "You're glowing, not just outside but inside too." For the first time in months, Mary felt a warmth rise in her chest. No one, not even Prinquil, had ever said something like that to her. She quickly sipped her water, hiding her blushing face. 5 months passed and Mary stayed disciplined. Her clothes hung looser, her cheeks slimmed, and she felt lighter, stronger, full of energy. Each time she looked in the mirror, the reflection staring back wasn't the broken, abandoned woman her husband left behind. It was a confident woman reclaiming her life. One evening, Peter surprised her with a night out to a chic restaurant. As they entered, heads turned, not with ridicule but with admiration. Peter leaned close and whispered in her ear, "You look breathtaking tonight." Mary smiled softly. "Thank you, Peter, for everything." For the first time in years she felt real happiness again. A few months later, Peter invited Mary to a fancy charity dinner. She hesitated, fidgeting with her hands. "Peter, I've never been to anything like this before. I don't think I fit in." Peter chuckled warmly. "Trust me, Mary, you belong. And when you walk in, they won't just notice you, they'll admire you." Encouraged by his words, she nodded. On the night of the charity dinner, Mary walked out in a stunning emerald green gown that sparkled under the lights. Peter couldn't hide his surprise, his jaw nearly dropped. "Wow," he whispered. "You look incredible." Mary blushed shyly. "Do you really think so?" "I don't just think it," Peter said firmly. "I know it." He offered her his arm and together they entered the hall. The room sparkled with grandeur and prestige. Business magnates, celebrities, and politicians mingling everywhere. Conversations paused, eyes turned, and whispers rose as Mary walked in, her head held high, her beauty undeniable. Across the room, Prince Will, her ex-husband, sat beside Franca. He looked stressed, his face lined with frustration. His eyes wandered lazily until they landed on Mary, and for the first time he felt the weight of what he had lost. Prince Will's brows knitted together as he leaned closer, squinting at Mary across the glittering hall. Who is that woman?" he muttered, his voice tight. "She looks familiar." Franca glanced at Mary and shrugged, her tone casual. "I don't know, but yeah, there's something about her I've seen before." Peter couldn't tear his eyes away. Slowly, almost hesitantly, he rose from his seat and took careful steps toward her. Then it hit him like a lightning bolt. His jaw dropped. "Mary," he whispered, disbelief thick in his voice. Mary turned her gaze calmly toward him, a faint, serene smile on her lips. "Hello, Prince Will," she said, voice soft yet proud. Prince Will stared, scanning her from head to toe, struggling to recognize the woman she had become. "Why, you look so different," he stammered. "I know," Mary said, her tone calm, unshaken. Peter stepped closer, hand protectively resting on her arm, his expression steady and firm. "Is there a problem here?" Prince Will swallowed hard, shame creeping into his chest. I didn't recognize her at first," he admitted, voice trembling. Mary leaned in slightly, her eyes sharp, piercing straight through him. "That's because the woman you abandoned has grown, and become stronger." Prince Will froze. His heart sank. For the first time, regret stabbed him like a knife. He realized he had thrown away a gem while chasing a cheap shimmer. He slumped back into his chair, still staring at Mary, unable to look away. Franca noticed his lingering gaze and whispered, "Why are you staring at her like that?" Prince Will forced a laugh, but it was hollow. "It's nothing," he said, though inside pride and shame waged a fierce battle. He knew it wasn't nothing. Meanwhile, Mary remained poised, composed, radiating confidence. She refused to let him see even a flicker of weakness. Peter raised his glass, clinking it lightly against hers, and they shared a quiet smile, Mary glowing with calm triumph while Prince seethed silently. As the event neared its end, Peter excused himself politely to greet a few dignitaries. By fate, he walked straight toward Prince Will and Franca's table. "Good evening," Peter said smoothly. "I must say Mary has been doing incredible things lately. She's grown into an amazing woman." Prince Will's smile tightened, jaw stiff with bitterness. I can see that," he muttered, the fire of regret burning silently in his chest. Franca's eyes widened as the truth struck her. The elegant, confident woman Prince Will had been staring at all evening was Mary. She stayed quiet, watching, stunned. Then Peter's words landed like a thunderclap. "And by the way, Mary is my fiancée now." Prince Will's eyes went wide, disbelief and shock etched deep across his face. "What?" Prince Will's voice cracked, disbelief ripping through him. For the first time he felt the room spin. The same woman he had mocked, humiliated, and abandoned was now standing tall beside another man, one of the most influential men in the city. He had expected her to beg, to stumble, maybe even plead for mercy. But instead, she had risen far beyond him. Franca sneered, leaning back in her chair. "Oh, Prince Will, don't tell me you're still hung up on her?" Prince Will quickly forced a neutral expression. "Of course not," he muttered, though his heart thumped wildly. "I'm just surprised. That's all." At that moment, Peter's assistant approached with a folder. "Sir, the report you requested." Peter flipped through it with precise calm, then turned his piercing gaze toward Prince Will. "Speaking of surprises, we need to talk," he said, voice sharp. "What now?" Prince Will muttered, his brows knitting. "The contract we gave your company," Peter began, steady and cold. "I've gone through everything and frankly, I'm not impressed." Prince Will's heart sank. "What do you mean?" "You've failed on several key deliverables," Peter continued. "If this project isn't completed within 8 weeks, you will refund the entire payment. And from now on, you will report directly to Mary every week." Color drained from Prince Will's face. "Peter, please, you have to give me more time." Peter's tone cut like steel. "Business is business. And Mary will oversee every stage. No excuses." With that, he turned and walked away, leaving Prince Will frozen, trembling in humiliation. That night, Prince Will sat in his apartment, head in his hands, frustration boiling over. The once prized contract now felt like a curse. The man who had handed him the opportunity had put his fate in the hands of the woman he had abandoned. Franca sauntered in, flopping onto the couch with a sigh. "Why the long face, Prince?" she asked, raising an eyebrow. What's with the long face? Prince Will glared at her. Don't you get it? If I don't deliver this project in 8 weeks, I'll have to refund every money. Every single one of it. Do you know what that means? Franca rolled her eyes, smirking. Relax, Prince Will. You're overthinking. You're a rich man now. We'll figure it out. His voice rose, sharp with panic. Figure it out? The money is almost gone. All those cars, parties, your endless shopping sprees, we're done if I refund this project. Franca just shrugged, unconcerned. Chill, babe. We'll see. Prince Will's chest heaved as he stared into the darkness, realizing too late that his arrogance and betrayal had finally caught up with him. The woman he thought he had destroyed was now holding the ultimate power over him, and he had no one to blame but himself. But no one wanted to help him. Prince Will felt his empire crumbling day by day. The pressure was unbearable, and every night Mary's calm, confident face haunted him like a ghost. Then the worst blow came. Just 1 week before the project deadline, Franca packed her designer bags. She stood tall, her face cold as ice. I'm done, Prince Will, she snapped. I'm not going to sit here and watch you sink. I thought you were a winner, but you're just a failure. Before he could respond, she yanked off her wedding ring and let it clatter onto the table. Without another word, she rolled her suitcase toward the door and left. Goodbye, Prince Will. Find someone else to deal with your mess, she called over her shoulder. Prince Will froze, the reality of karma hitting him hard. The woman he had abandoned for her was gone, leaving him alone to face his crumbling world. Meanwhile, at Peter's company, Mary sat behind a sleek desk, flipping through Prince Will's final project report. Her face was calm but sharp, every line in her expression radiating authority. The report was a disaster. Half-finished buildings, substandard materials, and clear evidence that money had been misused. Mary dialed Peter's number. Peter, she said softly, Prince Will has failed to deliver. We need to start the refund process. I expected nothing less, he replied calmly. Let's proceed with legal action. The very next day Prince Will received the notice. Bold letters screamed, lawsuit for breach of contract and mismanagement of funds. Accounts frozen. Failure to pay will result in seizure of all properties. In a panic, Prince Will rushed to Mary's office. His once proud shoulders slumped, eyes bloodshot from sleepless nights. Please, Mary, he begged, voice cracking. I was wrong. I made a mistake. Don't take everything from me. Please talk to Peter on my behalf. Mary looked at him, calm and steady. Her words were soft, but they cut deep. Business is business, come to think of it. When you left me, Prince Will, she said quietly, did you stop to think about how I would survive? Did it ever matter that I had nothing? No, you only thought about yourself. And now, you want mercy? Tears streamed down Prince Will's face. He fell to his knees. Mary, please. I know I deserve this, but I'm begging. Don't let me lose it all. Mary's heart softened for a moment, but then she exhaled and shook her head. This isn't about revenge, Prince. This is about responsibility. You were given a chance and you wasted it. Now you must face the consequences. Her words pierced him like a knife. It was finally over. Within weeks, the lawsuit finished its course. Prince Will lost everything, his cars, his mansion, his reputation. The man who once walked proudly through the streets now wandered in shame, a shadow of his former self. Meanwhile, Mary's life flourished. She had not only transformed her body but her spirit, her mind, her confidence. Every day she grew stronger, radiant, and unshakable. Her bond with Peter deepened, blossoming into a love the city would soon hear about. On the morning of their wedding, Mary stood in front of the mirror, her white gown flowing like a river of light. The woman staring back was no longer broken. She was bold, beautiful, and full of life. Losing him felt like the end, she whispered to herself. But it was actually the beginning. As she walked down the aisle toward Peter, the crowd gasped at her beauty. Peter's eyes glistened with love, and in that moment Mary knew. She had not only found love again, she had truly found herself. Abuja seemed to shine brighter that day, celebrating her victory over heartbreak, betrayal, and pain. Thank you so much for sticking with us through Mary and Prince Will's journey. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next powerful story. Your support truly means the world. We appreciate you.